Hello the internet, Viperion here again with another episode from the Biffacraft server. Today I'm going to show you my amazing skills of redstone, such as they are. So here I have my portal room. I've been doing a little bit of decoration around here, especially within the back wall. But this is going to be where you get to my actual base. And no, I don't mean this area out here, which is more or less kind of sort of finished. It's going to be inside the mountain, but you will never know about it, ha ha ha, unless you've watched this video, because I'm about to show you. So, somewhere around here, there is a button, and it is in fact right here. And then you can go through into my base. What magic is this, you ask? Well, let me show you. In behind this step here, let's take away some of this so you can see what's happening. And where's my silk touch pickaxe? Because I'm going to need to put these back. We'll get to that stuff in a second. There is this button here. Now, buttons work, or should I say stairs, work a little bit weirdly in Minecraft. If I place this here and this here, they don't obviously meet up with each other, but if I put this one here, it will attempt to place the stair exactly the same as this one, so it'll come all the way across here, but then it'll notice that it needs to connect to this, and so it'll put a corner block in. With me so far? Now what you can see here is just here, you can see this little black line. That is the outline of the block. It's the hitbox of the stairs. Now, as far as the game is concerned, this stair is exactly the same as this one, which means this little bit of it doesn't exist. And you'll see, if I'm over this part of the stair, I get the hitbox. If I'm over this part of the stair, the game doesn't think it exists, so I can go right through it. And therefore, you can see this little hitbox here becomes active, so I can reach that block from here. I could actually break it if I wanted to, see? But because I have a button there, I can actually reach the button through here. So as you can see, I have some sticky pistons going through here, and I better get to the rest of my base. So this isn't very complicated at all. I have two sticky pistons here. I have a redstone torch here, which powers this piston, and that redstone torch also powers this block, which powers this piston. Hello. So when the torch is powered, both of these pistons are powered, and this closes, and as you'll see, it looks exactly the same as this, so you can't really tell what's going on around here. The slightly tricky part is making this button behave like a lever. Now I can actually just put a lever here, but I wanted to be a little bit fancy about it. So what we have here is what is called a T flip-flop. So again, I will bust out the extra blocks that I put in, and I will show you how this works. I would break that one, but obviously it's got redstone in it. The important thing to know that there is nothing under this block here. It is in fact this extended piston. There you go, you can see it from the back here. So if I break all this stuff out. Alrighty, so this is what's known as a T flip-flop. So when I hit this button, will you be quiet? When I hit this button, this block gets powered, which powers the redstone, which runs up to here. Okay, with me so far? So basically what's happening is when I hit this button, these two pieces of wood here are being powered by these two pieces of redstone. Now you can see here I have a torch here, and I have a torch here. Because these aren't, you're going to get trapped behind here if you're not careful. Because these aren't being powered, both of these torches are on. Now these are normal pistons, they're not sticky pistons, and as you can see here there's a piece of redstone dust, a redstone block, sorry. So what happens when I hit this button is you'll see the torches go off, such as it is, and then because these torches go off, they stop powering these pistons. Now let me get this right for a second. So if I hit this button here, you'll see both the torches go off and then both the torches go on. So what happens is that the pistons, it's because retracting pistons take less time to to retract than extending pistons take to extend. Yeah, you better go back out there. Good idea. So what happens is you push the button, both of these torches go off, and you'll notice that nothing actually happens until the torches turn back on again. So the torches go off, torches go on, and then stuff happens. So what's happening here in this particular case is when the torches come back on, they're powering both these pistons. Yeah? Nice and simple. So when this, let me get this right, yep. So if I push this button, both of these blocks will get powered, which will turn the torches off. When the button stops being powered, these torches come on. Now when this torch comes on, it powers this piston, which retracts instantly. This piston, this torch comes on at the same time, which extends this piston. But because this piston is already retracted, it pushes the redstone block to here. Now when I push the button again, it just does that in reverse order. So if I push the button, so you see it's pushed it there. So when I push the button again, it does exactly the same thing. Both of these blocks are powered for a little bit, then the torches come on, retracting this piston, then extending this piston. So basically what happens is every time I push the button, that redstone block gets changed between one position and the other. Okay, nice and simple. When the redstone block is in this position, it sends a redstone signal out to here, which powers this block, turns this torch on or off as appropriate, and extends these pistons. So basically, all I've done is a really complicated way of trapping this pigman in there, like that. How you feel about that, buddy? So that is a T flip-flop. Now, as I said, you can just put a lever here, and in fact that would have been much simpler, because all I would have needed to do was run the redstone signal back into this block here, from here, and power or unpower that torch from there. The advantage to this system that you don't get with a lever is that when I'm on the other side of this, in my base, I can set up another line going into these two here, probably from the top, going down into here, and I can also push the button to make this go back to where it is. So if I put all that stone back, where is my stone? There it is. So I can fill all this in. You can put stuff on here, and that doesn't affect anything, as you can see. So if I push the button, no, wrong. Takes a little bit of practice to get it right. So you've got to go where the hitbox disappears. Push the button, it retracts that. I can go into my room here and I can have another button here which then does the same thing and pushes it back out. If this was a lever, that lever would now be on or off, as the case may be, and I would have, there's no way to do this. I'd have to run it through possibly an XOR gate, which I'm not entirely sure how to build at this point. But using the T flip-flop, all I need to do once I'm in my storage room, which as I said will be through here, is to push another button running into the T flip-flop, and it will trigger it, and it will close the door. So that's how that works. So I'm going to do a little bit of building, excavating through here. I'll try not to hit this guy because that would be bad for my health. And and I'll fill all this back in as well, and then I'll come back to you. So I'll see you shortly. Alrighty, we're back. Aside from anything else, I'm having a really interesting conversation with Omega and Till about Star Trek versus Babylon 5, which has been quite good. But this is what we've got so far. So if I jump back down into here, I have my T flip-flop here, so the button is on the other side of this block here. So I've shown you how that works. I run that signal back through here. I had to throw a repeater in, although I can probably take that out now actually, because I did have exactly 16 redstone to here, which was going to make it not work, but I've narrowed that down. So originally what I did was I put a button here, and I pushed the button on the way out, and I figured, well, on the other side of this I could just have a pressure pad. So what I've got here is a pressure pad which will power this redstone, which powers this block, which turns this torch off, currently this torch is always on, so it's powering this block here, and that redstone is powering this block, which is powering this torch, which is keeping this torch off. So what that means in practice, if I put some stairs down to here, is when I step on this, you see it turns that torch, it powers that torch. You can see the torch going there, turns that off. Because the T flip-flop only works when those two redstone torches get unpowered, nothing happens until I step off the pressure plate. Okay, which is quite good in a number of ways, because it means if it's open and I go through it, it will automatically close, which means, among other things, if I hit the button to open it, as I go through I step on the pressure plate and then obviously off it again, and it automatically closes itself behind me, which is very nice. However, it does mean I have to go on it and off to get it open, and then, but as I go through, it automatically closes itself, so I'm pretty happy with that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is redstone with Vaporeon. That is about as complicated as I get. So this is going to be the entrance foyer to my main part of the base. However, through here is the other side of the mountain. It goes a couple more blocks, but not too far, and actually if I dig through here, through this corner here, I actually get to outside. Which I'm not particularly happy about. It means I'm just going to have to go down from here. So you're going to get through into the main part of my base here. There's going to be an entrance hallway here, and there's going to be, I think, paths going down to the left and the right and spiraling back down between us to get to all the extra rooms in here. So I think that will probably do me for now. I might do up this room a little bit and bring you back in to show you what it's going to look like, but to do that I'm going to have to gather some glass and dye that and get some light sources and things in here, so that may not make it to this episode, but we'll see. But so far so good, so I may or may not be back. And we're back. I went a little bit nuts, I have to say. Our friend is still here. Actually, he went away and he's just come back. But I've gone a little bit crazy. And this is what we've ended up with. The room ended up being a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, actually. Although this does go straight through here to the outside, it turns out the walls were a lot longer, so that goes all the way out to here, but I have a view to the outside. This is the other side of my mountain. I'm going to have some stairs going down here to one part of my base, and some stairs going down here to another part of my base, and these little things on the walls here will probably eventually turn into things that go up and further into the mountain. But as I said, I went a little bit crazy and ended up with this, which I'm quite happy about. I quite like the look of it. So that really will do it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. You keep doing what you're doing. Alright then, bye bye.